to the pocket, layup, Johnson, good!
All right, welcome everybody. Another edition of Talking Sports with me, Chris Powers. I hope that you are listening to us or watching us, whether you're on the Pelican Sports app, you're on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, or if you're on Cox Cable, seen in the New Orleans, Baton Rouge, and in the Lafayette area, plus Morgan City, and also seen in Livingston and the Ascension Parish area as well. We've got lots to talk about today. We've got some Caitlin Clark. The WNBA is getting more and more popular as time goes on. We're going to talk about that and why I'm going to be talking about it today. We got Coach Terrence Graves going to join us on the show. He's going to talk about what's it like to be now the head coach. He's got through the spring and what have you, and he's got a football camp coming up. And we may give you the NFC South predictions if we have a chance to do that. We told you what the Saints would be. But we start with LSU baseball. 4 pitchers leaving LSU baseball, and everybody's freaking out. Everybody's going crazy. I don't know why, because unless you've been living under a rock for the last few years, it's called the transfer portal. And I think that the new slogan of college players should be, don't play, don't stay. I'm not staying. If I'm not playing, now think about an offensive lineman for college football. If that offensive lineman, say it's an offensive tackle, you get 2 5-star recruits, let's say 3, because you got a left tackle and right tackle, and the third offensive tackle is a 5-star recruit. And he's not playing much. Do you think he's going to stick around next year in year 2? No, he's gone. That means that hurts your depth. But in the National Football League, you can't do that. You can sign a 4 or 5-year contract, but you've got to play and you've got to work hard to earn your position. But in college football, gone. That's why if college football and college sports period does not change this rule and get straight and have organization, some type of form, and they don't have it at all, then college sports, I'm telling you, is going to crumble. It's going to fall to the 3rd and the 4th most watched sport. NASCAR for years had nobody showing up. After Dale Earnhardt Sr. was killed at Daytona, his son kind of carried that tradition going, but he still wasn't as popular as his dad. And the sport ran down. You can shoot a shotgun and not hit fans. The fan base has kind of come back now. I noticed that the other day when I was watching, flipping through the channels. I haven't watched a race in forever. And I'm flipping through the channels, and there all of a sudden is the crowd. It's a big, huge crowd. Wow, congratulations. So now, college football or college sports period, if they don't change, this is what you're going to get. So 4 pitchers from LSU is gone. Well, at least they're in the transfer portal. Nick Bronzini, left-handed pitcher, he's a redshirt freshman. He is a first-year academic, all honor roll last year. He played in the Texas Collegiate League, which is the Baton Rouge Rougarou here in Baton Rouge. He played there. He redshirted as a true freshman, and he was the number 2 pitcher out of the state of California. And he was number 19 in the nation. Pitched in 6 games in 4 2/3 of an innings at LSU with a 5.79 ERA and 8 strikeouts. So we hate to lose an arm like that. Now, you haven't heard him much. This is what he's done so far this year at LSU. Cam Johnson, left-handed pitcher. He's a freshman this year. He's leaving. He was ranked as the number 2 pitcher in the nation last season, where he's from IMG Academy. He played in 13 games and faced 50 batters. He has 9 innings pitched. He has a 12.0 ERA. Drafted by St. Louis last year in the 20th round, but decided to come to LSU, and that was LSU's prize recruit possession last year. He has a fastball at 97 miles an hour, but he's too wild. Doesn't matter, though. As long as good pitching, coaching, and period, and more reps he gets, he'll be better. Go ask how Nolan Ryan first started. Alan, have you heard that story with Nolan Ryan? When he first started, when he got on the mound in Major League Baseball, The first batter, he hit. The second batter, he hit in the head and cracked his helmet. The third batter said, hell no, and refused to go in the game. That's the exact story of Nolan Ryan. And we all know how Nolan Ryan became an unbelievable force for the Texas Rangers, the Houston Astros, and what have you. He's an unbelievable player. So Cam Johnson leaving, it hurts. He could have developed. I wish he would have stayed and be more developed at LSU. Micah Buckman is leaving. He's a right-handed pitcher, a sophomore, played 2 seasons at LSU. He has a 9.0 ERA in 16 games, facing 76 batters with 24 strikeouts. He was picked in the 16th round by Toronto in 2021, but decided to come to LSU. He's gone. Now, here's the one that I'm disappointed with the most. It's Aiden Moffitt, right-handed pitcher. He's a sophomore. Was number 1 in the state of Mississippi in 2022 in recruiting. 2 seasons, he has a 6.11 ERA, 17 games, 17 2/3 of an innings pitched, 21 strikeouts, 86 batters he's faced. But at one game, and I can't remember what game it was, when Coach Johnson came and got the ball from him, you can tell he was frustrated. But, I mean, okay, so pitchers get frustrated after a game and what have you. That's understandable. They want to stay in the game. But Jay Johnson pulled him, and it looked like he was very upset by that. I'm not saying that's the reason he's leaving. He probably felt that he didn't pitch enough. In 17 games he's pitched, 17 2/3 of an inning. That's all he's pitched in the 2 years he's been there. Next year he'll be eligible for the draft after next season. Where will he go? That disappoints me right there more of any of those 4. But, I mean, also, same thing with Cam Johnson leaving. I'm disappointed with that as well. All 4 of them, you really can be disappointed because all 4 have great arms. They're highly recruited by LSU. So, I mean, what do? You got to go out and replace them. That's what you do. As Jay Johnson sees that now, they're transferring out. Now he's got to go get transfers to fill those arm spaces up. I don't know where Aiden Moffitt's going to go. There's just no more pride anymore in sports. As a player, if I'm playing for LSU, I would never go to an Ole Miss. I wouldn't go to Mississippi State. I wouldn't go to Florida. I wouldn't go to Kentucky. I wouldn't go to any SEC school. But there's no more pride in these kids anymore. There's no pride at all. They'll go where they want to go. They don't care if it's an SEC school. They'll just go. And that is disappointing to me, I think. I am so disappointed by that. Now, will they go to an SEC school, all 4 of them? I bet you one of them will be in the SEC. Right now, in the College World Series, there's only 2 conferences that are represented in the College World Series. The SEC and the ACC. That's it. Out of all the colleges, the Big Ten, the Pac-12, the Big 12, all that, only 2 conferences are represented in the World Series. ACC and the SEC. So, again, and there'll be some other players that will be getting out. LSU, of course, will be recruiting, and LSU will have some transfers coming in. But that's the way it goes right now. 4 big pitchers, and we don't need to lose any arms. 4 pitchers are leaving LSU. All right, we'll be back with more as we continue. We've got Terrence Graves coming up. We've also going to talk about the WNBA. Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark like Bird and Magic. What? We'll talk about that when we come back and as we continue talking sports with me, Chris Powers, right after this timeout right here on Pelican Sports TV.
We're a nation of hardworking Americans, and businesses will always be the lifeline of this great country. As a business owner, you understand the importance of your reputation. In times of uncertainty, you need a real lawyer who's serious about protecting you and your business. You need a problem solver. You need the law firm of Clayton and Fouger. Tony Clayton is a proven trial lawyer. He'll defend you and your business to the fullest extent of the law. Protect your investment and call the law firm of Clayton and Fouger today.
The Louisiana Leadership Institute presents the 2024 Statewide Regional Spelling Bee Finals. Come join us at the Louisiana Leadership Institute, 5763 Hooper Road in Baton Rouge. Final competition is Saturday, June 15th at 10 a.m., with 15 contestants competing for the first place grand prize of $10,000. The 2024 Statewide Regional Spelling Bee Finals, presented by the Louisiana Leadership Institute. We'll see you there.
If you're a wing lover like me, you already know where the best and biggest wings in Baton Rouge are. TJ Ribs on Acadian and I-10. But did you know they also provide some of the best catering in town? Yeah. Their catering packages are custom built for parties and tailgates and overflowing with the tastiest barbecue you can find. Whether you go with the MVP package, the Heisman, or the Natty, you can't go wrong with TJ Ribs because it's not just jumbo wings. They serve up truly tender beef brisket, perfectly roasted pulled pork, and smoky fall-off-the-bone baby back ribs. Don't forget the savory sausage and chopped beef. Come on down to TJ Ribs on Acadian and I-10, proud sponsors of the LSU Tigers and the Southern University Jaguars. All right, welcome back, everybody. Talking sports with me, Chris Powers. I'm trying to grow a beard. I want to look as sexy as Marty here, okay? I've tried it one time in my life, and I didn't like it, so I shaved it immediately. It's itchy. Marty tells me there's a butter that you can put, some kind of a cream, beard butter. See, I said beer butter, and I'm like, I got it. But that's Harry Potter, isn't it? Butter beer or whatever. But anyway, so I'm trying to shave a beard. I want to look like James Bond. Well, Sean Connery. But I don't know. I mean, because my beard is white. My hair is still got, salt and pepper, maybe a little bit, but my beard is white as a sheet. And I'm trying to do it. So what I'm going to do, I guess is how you do it, right, Marty? You grow it out as much as you can, and then from there you trim it to see if you like it a full beard or you like it, kind of like this, maybe thin or whatever.
Yeah, you got to see where it's going.
You got to see where it's going, right. And I'm usually like, there's part Indian in me, but I don't know. I just don't usually grow hair. This is like 2 weeks worth, I think.
Not bad.
Yeah, but usually other people are like, look like, big time, like Wolfman Jack or something. No, but for me, or the ZZ Top Band. For me, though, I'm still growing it out, but it's interesting. Now it's starting to itch. You told me it was going to happen. Now it's starting to itch. And I don't want the flakes. So you see people wear black shirts and they got flakes all over them. I hate
They
that.
don't need beer, but
That's what I have to do. But when you keep saying, I'm thinking you're saying beer butter. I know, beard butter. So I'm like, bring on beer. So Jonathan's wife is here. What's her name? I didn't get her name. So Jonathan's wife is here, and I'm talking about they put out the red carpet for her. Alan's bringing out bread pudding. You're giving her whiskey or something like that. Jonathan, Gary, me, and nobody gets treated like this. She comes out. Do you want a big platter? You want barbecue? I can do barbecue right now. Alan goes crazy over women. Isn't that crazy? Unbelievable. Red carpet out. Do you want the limousine? We got the limousine outside, and we bring you in where you want while we're doing the show. No, she's great. First time I got to meet her. Comes here, poor Jonathan's car broke down. Isn't that hard? We need a GoFundMe page. Look, I was at Twin Peaks this weekend for our birthday dinner. We had birthday dinners for me and my guys. They had ladies actually going around saying, I'm going to Mexico for my birthday. Do you want to donate to that fund? No! If you can't go to Mexico because you can't afford it, God bless you. You can't go. Go get your dad. I gave my son my credit card for his senior trip. Just go nuts. Enjoy it. You deserved it. No, I'm not going to give you any money. They were having money like they were a wedding dance or something. No, it don't work that way. No. All right, the WNBA continues to get more and more popular. Magic Johnson was on the Jimmy Kimmel Show this week, and Magic Johnson said, Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese are like me and Bird. Wow. This coming from Magic Johnson. Now, he said this, they're not the best players in the league yet, just like me and Bird when we started. But we eventually got to be the best, and we all know that Magic and Bird, even before Michael Jordan, brought the NBA up. Back then, their finals and playoff games were tape delayed. They didn't have it. The NBA was horrible back then. But Bird and Magic and that feud lifted the NBA to where it is, well, it was back when the Celtics and the Lakers were playing. To me, that was the best days. I didn't miss a game. I couldn't miss a game. So for Magic Johnson saying that, that's pretty impressive. Angel Reese is averaging about 11.6 points per ball game right now and 9.6 rebounds. So that's not going to make her a superstar right now. She's not. She's not scoring her points. My question is, will Angel Reese be able to do that? Because there are a lot of big players, even bigger than her or as tall as her, in this league, and bigger than her. So is it going to happen? I don't know if Angel Reese will ever be a superstar. Now, as far as her talking, yes, she can do it the best. She's got to be able to promote herself better than anybody. And that's why so many people are talking about her. Angel Reese said this week that it's not about one player in the WNBA. It's about all of us. And she was referring, of course, to Caitlin Clark. Well, right now, Caitlin Clark is the most popular player in the WNBA, like it or not. And she is 14th in scoring. She averages 16.8 points per ball game and 6.3 assists a game. And I think she's going to be even better and better. When they did not add her to the Olympic team, she got 30 points. And that's not just 3-point shots. That's layups and what have you. Caitlin Clark is going to probably be the real deal. Now, what Bird has said, what Magic Johnson said, and what Charles Barkley said, she needs to add weight to her. She's got to be able to add about 10 pounds to her. The question is, will she be able to play the same if she does add that weight? You got to be able to adjust to it. So hopefully by the end of this year, she'll look different. Go look at Steph Curry's rookie picture. He looked like a high school kid. But now, the same thing with Caitlin Clark. She's skinny as a rail. But eventually, if Caitlin Clark gets where she needs to be, and everybody's comparing her to Steph Curry, you could see that Steph Curry now looks like an NBA player. He's short, but he's deadly and is unbelievable. So that is something that Caitlin Clark's going to have to add weight to her. Now, is it right that Caitlin Clark was not allowed to go to the Olympic team? I think so, because you go by experienced players, you go by players that have been in the league for a long time. Caitlin Clark's going to get plenty of opportunities to go to the Olympics. 4 years from now, she'll be on the Olympic team. Let's just face it. She'll be on the team. But right now, she's not on the Olympic team. I don't think she got screwed out of that. I just think it didn't happen. She didn't have as much, minutes as other WNBA players do. So I don't think it's a big deal. League attendance is up by 40%. So it has gone up tremendously. The most watched game happened on this year, May 14th, when they got 2.1 million when Indiana took on the Suns. The Caitlin Clark and Reese Witherspoon, listen to me, Angel Reese game drew 1.5 million. But get this, CBS don't even have the NBA on their network, but they're going to carry the rematch between Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark on CBS. They're expecting to get over 2 million viewers for that game. That's coming up on June 16th. That's next week. So they're going to have over 2 million people watching that on a major network at CBS. So slowly but surely, the WNBA is coming, and you could see the crowd is now beginning to build and build and build, and that's good for the WNBA. So they're doing it more and more. I know some people don't like the WNBA. I'm not watching it as much as I think some people are, but I could see one day maybe I will watch it because it's beginning to be popular. If it's not popular, I don't watch it. Like, for instance, right now, a lot of you saying that I'm watching. Did you see Gary? Mr. Gary asked me, did you see the regionals this week? No. Once LSU's gone, I'm gone. Yeah. Because they don't draw many people. It's not like, they'll draw less than 1 million people for those games. So if LSU's not there, I'm not there. I want the omelet, not the egg. I want a finished product. That's why I don't watch NASCAR anymore. I was done. Look, I met Dale Earnhardt in New Orleans, and I was a Dale Earnhardt fan. I was told, follow a NASCAR driver, and follow him. That's the way you're going to catch on to the NASCAR. And I did. I started watching The Intimidator, Dale Earnhardt. And I met him in New Orleans for a signing party. He was autographing, and I was on the radio. His manager came to me and said, Chris, would you like to interview Dale Earnhardt? Oh, hell yeah. Oh, hell yeah, I will. So Dale comes to his entourage after he's done, and he's got to go to the Rock that day, which is in North Carolina, to race. He comes to me, and you get a one-sentence question and a one-sentence answer. Well, then can you say that at the time Cajun 103 is an official NASCAR radio station because we had NASCAR races on our radio? Can you say that? Oh, I don't do promos. I said, you know what? You could take this interview and shove it up your ass. Because you put your pants on one leg at a time, brother, just like I do. You don't walk on water. And I left, and my friend told me that his mouth was wide open, shocked that I stood up to him. Hell with him. I did the same thing with Coach K at Duke. Oh, I can't. Oh, I don't interview the opposing. Sorry, Coach, didn't know you were bigger than the game. I can't stand rude people. Rude behavior just kills me. And that was it. But I was very disappointed with Dale Earnhardt. Dale called me the next day at the hotline at the radio station. He said, I was impressed that you stood up to me. Sent me a box of die-cast cars, T-shirts, and everything. I gave the die-cast cars out to some of the relatives I know. If I'd have known he died, I'd have kept him. That'd have been worth millions now. So he died, I think, a year after I met him, he died. But I stood toe-to-toe with him, and he, like I said, he was impressed. I did, and he was shocked. His mouth was wide open. It was in New Orleans at Lesson Chevrolet. I know exactly where it was when it happened. I don't care who you are. I don't care what the hell you are. You're not going to talk to me that way, brother. Not ever in this lifetime. I take this interview and shove it where, the sun don't shine. So anyway, so NASCAR is coming back. So what I mean by that, I want the omelet, not the egg. If you're a finished product, that's the omelet. I'll take it any day of the week and twice on Sunday. But if you're the egg and you're starting out and people are not watching you and what have you, there's some LSU fans that still will make the trip to Omaha, but very little. Most of the fans at LSU, if LSU's not in the World Series, they're not watching it. You think they're going to pass the Jell-O shots this year? Probably not. LSU fans love to drink. They got the poll out already, ready for the fans to come to Omaha. You're not going to get as much you did last year. Sorry. And the year before that with Ole Miss. Even though you got SEC schools coming, you're not going to get that much. All right, when we come back, we're going to call Coach Terrence Graves, and Coach Terrence Graves is going to be able to talk about his camp coming up and how different is it for him as a coach now in his very first year. We'll talk with him coming up as we continue with Talking Sports with me, Chris Powers, right after this timeout right here on Pelican Sports TV.
If you're a wing lover like me, you already know where the best and biggest wings in Baton Rouge are. TJ Ribs on Acadian and I-10. But did you know they also provide some of the best catering in town? Yeah, their catering packages are custom built for parties and tailgates and overflowing with the tastiest barbecue you can find. Whether you go with the MVP package, the Heisman, or the Natty, you can't go wrong with TJ Ribs because it's not just jumbo wings. They serve up truly tender beef brisket, perfectly roasted pulled pork, and smoky fall-off-the-bone baby back ribs. Don't forget the savory sausage and chopped beef. Come on down to TJ Ribs on Acadian and I-10, proud sponsors of the LSU Tigers and the Southern University Jaguars.
We're a nation of hardworking Americans, and businesses will always be the lifeline of this great country. As a business owner, you understand the importance of your reputation. In times of uncertainty, you need a real lawyer who's serious about protecting you and your business. You need a problem solver. You need the law firm of Clayton and Fouget. Tony Clayton is a proven trial lawyer. He'll defend you and your business to the fullest extent of the law. Protect your investment and call the law firm of Clayton and Fouget today.
All right, welcome back, everybody. We're trying to call Terrence Graves right now, head coach of the Southern University Jaguars. A little late on the phone call with him, but hopefully we'll get him on here in a minute as you hear the phone ringing. We're going to talk to him about his camp coming up and also about how different does it feel that he is now a head coach than he was assistant coach for years. And so we're going to try to get with him in just a second. So he's not answering his phone, so we maybe try to get it in the next segment. All right, let's talk about this. Let's talk about the NFC South. NFC South predictions right here. And let's do this because I told you, a couple of weeks ago that I thought the Saints would finish with a record of 10-7. Somewhere around that area. Last year they finished 9-8, finished tied for the NFC South with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but because of the tiebreaker, Tampa wins because the Tampa beat the Saints both times. They swept them. This year I don't think it's going to be the case. So let's start with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Tied for the NFC South last year with a 9-8 record, and they went to the playoffs because they won the tiebreaker. They beat Philadelphia, beat the snot out of them in the first game, really threw them all over the field. in the wild card game. And then the divisional round, they got beat by the Detroit Lions, who eventually went to the NFC Championship after that game and barely lost to the San Francisco 49ers, who went to the Super Bowl. With Tampa, I'm not a big Todd Bowles fan, and I'm not a big Baker Mayfield fan. Baker Mayfield, he started out great in Cleveland and then just faded away. And I believe that's exactly what he's going to do here in Tampa. That's why they don't seem to want to sign him to a major contract for a long period of time. They lost Shaquille Barrett, the defensive end, and that was a big one because he was always a great edge rusher. They also lost Devin White, former LSU linebacker. He's gone, and he started out on fire. So those two are gone. They picked up a safety, Jordan Whitehead, and I wish he would have came to New Orleans, even though New Orleans has a pretty good, depth at safety, but that's a special player. That's probably why he didn't even look at New Orleans. They rank 7th as the easiest schedule in the National Football League. I have the Bucs going 8-9 on the season. I'll tell you why. They split with the Saints. They'll win the home and home games. I think the Saints will win at home in the Superdome, and they'll lose on the road to Tampa. I think they'll split with Falcons too. I think Atlanta will be a better team this year, but still not where they need to be. I think everybody will sweep the Panthers. I think Tampa, Atlanta, and the Saints will all three sweep the Panthers. I don't think the Panthers will win one divisional game this year. They'll lose to Detroit in week 2, Philly in week 4, Baltimore in week 7, and at KC in week 9, plus San Francisco at home in week 10. They also host the Los Angeles Chargers. They'll lose that in week 14. They got Dallas on week 15. I think they're going to lose to all of those teams. I think they're going to beat Washington. That's the first week of the season because they're not going to be – Washington will be not a finished product by any stretch of the imagination until about midway or even past midway. And I think they could upset number 3 Denver in the third week of the season, rather. It's going to be in Tampa. Sean Payton goes back to where he used to be, where he injured his leg. Remember, he was on the sideline, and one of the players' leg whipped him on the sideline, and he tore his ACL and PCL. And so he had to coach from the booth for a while. So he will return to Tampa Bay for the first time since he's been gone as the Saints. So I think I think Tampa will finish with an 8-9 record. Atlanta Falcons. New coach of Raheem Morris, and they add Kirk Cousins at quarterback. Well, here's the problem with Raheem Morris. I'm not a big Raheem Morris fan. He's not to me a coach that's going to really tear it up. I think he's a good coordinator, but do I think he's a good head coach? That's a totally different story. That's why so many people are upset about this guy, whether he's black or whether he's white, not being a head coach. Is because he's good, maybe a good coordinator, maybe a good assistant coach, but when you become the CEO of the team, that's a different story. That's a totally different story. Same thing with Dennis Allen. I think Dennis Allen's a great defensive mind. Okay? That could be Coach Graves right there. Hello?
Chris,
Coach Graves, how you doing, my man?
I'm doing well. How you doing?
All right, we're doing great. We're on the air right now. I want to talk to you. We're going to talk about your camp coming up here in just a moment. Thanks for calling us back, and we'll get back to the Saints, to the NFC South recruiting here in just a moment. But let's talk about, first of all, Coach, so you've done the recruiting part. We've gone through spring drills. I'd say maybe on a scale of 1 to 10, an assistant coach being maybe a 3 or 4. What would, on a head coach, if you had to put it, where would you put the level that you're at right now as far as how hard it is and how busier you are being a head coach of Southern?
What's the numbers again?
1 through 10.
1 through 10?
Yeah. 10 being the hardest.
I'd probably say a 9.
A 9, wow. Because it's got to be crazy. Now, Coach, a basketball coach said that this week for college basketball. He said that it's more, he's almost having to recruit more of his players to stay on the team than going out recruiting. Do you find that as well? Is it now a tough recruiting job to try and get your players to stay and not transfer out of Southern?
Oh, yeah, that's a challenge. You actually have to recruit year-round now. Because you have in-house recruit as well as recruit to add people to your program.
Wow.
And so it makes it difficult because that's the way the transfer portal is set up and the transfer rules. So you basically have to you got to basically recruit the guys, keep them, then you got to recruit guys, bring in, and add to those guys.
Unbelievable. Coach, the transfer to me, I said this, that college football is the second most watched sport there is. NFL's number one, college football's number two. That's the money. That's the big money pit for all colleges. But if college sports don't get this fixed, if the NCAA can't fix this, I mean, I just see this sport just struggling. I think there should be, as I mentioned before, I think there should be 2 years transfer. That each player gets 2 transfers, 2 for each 2 years, which means 4-year career, they get to transfer 1 time and then go to another school and transfer. These transfers they're doing 4 and 5 times is ridiculous. As a coach, you can't build continuity, and as a player, you're not going to get starting. It's just unbelievable. I think you're ruining the career. What would you like to see when the transfer portal?
Me personally, I'm in line with that in mind, and I think because people transfer program down. So I don't have a problem with one-time transfer, not even transfer. But I think personally, I'd like to see, once you transfer that first time, I'd like to see, some of the old rules. You got to fit.
Right.
It doesn't mean that you have to lose eligibility, but there has to be a sit-down period somewhere. So in that, because it does take tough for programs to actually build any continuity, and in the meanwhile, being held to standard of wins and losses.
Right.
So it's hard to maintain that consistency and continuity when it's structured like that. But you also got to look at just got to be real creative and strategic, and you got to change some of the mindset of how to basically have group and anticipate some guys leaving, and you got to put guys in. You got to plug and play guys.
Right. I'm glad that they shortened. I mean, that they made it now to where there's 3 transfer portals basically, and or there's actually 2. So I'm happy they did that to where, because like you said, Coach, if you got an offensive tackle, left tackle, you finish spring drills and you're thinking you're set, and all of a sudden this left tackle wants to go somewhere else closer to his home or what have you, you're out of a left tackle. And I don't think that's fair to coaches at all. Now they've got to go out and look for a transfer to fill in for the left tackle. Then you've got your depth that you could fill into that spot, but you've just lost a good left tackle. And I think that needs to change. I think there needs to be formality. There needs to be more of a form when it comes to college sports. And so now they're going to also opening up recruiting before the season starts. They're going to do it in December, and they're going to do it again in February. Are you happy with that at all?
Well, I'm glad they give us opportunities to replace those guys. Those guys should not get forward. Play finish program. So no perfect time to it right now. But again, you just got to make the best of the situation. And so at the end of the day, folks are not. A lot of folks don't really care about that aspect of it. They want to see the wins and losses. So as a coach, you got to be smart enough to take advantage and utilize those things as what's best for your program. I think what does hurt, it continuously hurts the high school athletes. When you're looking at coaches trying to sustain themselves in a program, it's really, really hard. Some to want to, a lot of coaches want to recruit the best high school players, but if you're in a situation where you got to win, or your job's on the line, then your best chance is on older guys. So that kind of leaves those guys out of the window. We're going to recruit the best high school guys here, and with the mindset of that we're going to be able to hold them, keep them, but also have to plan inside, go somewhere else.
Right. I think that the December recruiting needs to go. I really do. The signing day December, I think it needs to go. I think it's horrible for coaches. They're getting ready for championships. They're getting ready, for the conference championship game, or they're getting ready for the season. And I think the December signing period to me is horrible. I think it doesn't work. I don't know who installed that. I don't know who's keeping that. I think that's a horrible deal. It's not good. That's why Brian Kelly left Notre Dame when he did. And they're still getting on Brian Kelly for leaving Notre Dame. But you don't understand. I mean, people don't understand. I wish somebody would have been who represents Kelly would have explained that to the media. If he waited, Coach, and I know you think this, well, I don't want to talk for you, but so let's say, for instance, LSU comes up with an offer. His team may have gone to the playoffs, but he knew that he wasn't going to go. So if he would have stayed at Notre Dame and signed the recruiting class, then accepted the job at LSU, that recruiting class at Notre Dame could have been gone. They could have been gone. They could have transferred because the coach left. So that's why he did it before the recruiting deal. He comes to LSU, and he tries to save those recruiting commitments from coming in. And so that's why he did what he did, because of the December signing period. And I think the December signing period is horrible. And look, these guys get paid six-figure salary in the NCAA office in Indianapolis. I don't know what the hell they're thinking. I don't know what they're doing all day with their job. Maybe they're playing GameCube or playing some video game system because they're not doing their job. It's just the bottom line. It's horrible. I think it's horrible. They've got to be able to fix this big time, and if they don't, I think it's going to hurt college. I think it's going to hurt college sports down the line. I really do. All right, Coach. I know we've got a camp coming up. I want to talk about that. You've got a camp that will be coming up right there at Southern University. It's your very first camp. It's the grades 8 through 12 is going to be the first camp. That will start on June 15th at 8 a.m. So tell us what the high schoolers will learn when they come to this camp.
Well, it's going to be an instructional camp, and those guys will, first of all, they'll be go through basically a free workout type of camp, where guys gonna run 40s and then do all that kind of stuff. Then we'll have instructional periods where coaches will spend time teaching them the nuances of position. So if you're quarterback be working linemen, they'll be doing lineman drills. Linebackers will do linebacker drills, so forth and so on. So it'll be instructional as well as measurement, things of that nature. So you will definitely have an opportunity to be coached and understand a different perspective. Because everybody does something different. They
Right.
be able to come up with something that in terms of how you play a position, how do you read certain keys, how do you those things. So it's going to be a great time for everyone.
Coach, I don't know about you when you played high school ball. When I played high school ball, they didn't have camps like that. I think that's so awesome because that way, if I'm a 9th grader, 10th grader, well, I'm in college, I'm in high school period, I think it's a good way for me to show. I'd go to every camp I could, and I would go to this camp because I want to see what a college athlete, college football player goes through. And this is an opportunity for me to see that coming from a college coach, because I believe your whole staff will be there, right? Your whole coaching staff?
Yes.
And it starts at 8 a.m. Sign up is at 8 a.m. That is, again, on June 15th. So that is important. That is coming up on a Saturday. Not this coming Saturday, but the next. No, this Saturday. That's right. It's this Saturday. June 15th, 8 a.m. So that's when you start signing up. So you have to bring your athletic wear, obviously, and cleats. Show up there, and the rest that they will do. And then you're going to have a Little Jags camp on June 29th. Tell us do you know the ages on that?
Age is 5 to 12.
5 to 12. So see, that's another golden opportunity for you to learn how I can be a future Jaguar. I like that. Here's what you do. To register, go to info.abcsportscamps.com. That's info.abcsportscamps.com. Go to that. Again, it's this Saturday, June 15th, for the high school camp. And again, on June 29th, the Little Jags camp. And again, all registration will start at 8 a.m. and the practice session will go on from there. And that'll be right there on the campus of Southern University. Coach, do they go to the A.W. Mumford Stadium? Is that where the camp's going to be? Or do the practice fields right next door?
It's start off in the stadium.
Okay.
W. Stadium to do registration, check in, registration. Now, this Saturday, camp $45 per camper, and then the little Jaguars $20 per camper.
I think that's perfect. $45 is not expensive at all. I think that's great. $25 for the little Jags. I think that's great as well. I think it's a perfect opportunity. If you've ever wanted to play college ball, this is an opportunity for you to find out how they practice, how the college teams practice. And so I would go to Terrence Graves. I'd go to every camp I could to get a feel of how that is. Because I can tell you again, when I played high school ball here in Louisiana, we didn't have that. There was no camps at all like that, period. And we only practiced football during the fall, summer and the fall, and that's it. So that's why I get to play basketball and baseball after that, but because we couldn't play all of it together. But it's so changed now. It is totally, totally changed now, where football almost is a year-round sport to prepare every year. So, Coach, what are the college guys doing right now? So that your student athletes, are they still on campus? Will they be in campus, for this summer? And if I'm not mistaken, this is the time where dead period where you can't talk to them, but your strength and conditioning coach can.
Well, this is some guys are in summer school, some guys are here just working out, guys at home. We'll have guys coming back next couple weeks, and they'll be able to. So it's not a dead period, but we have actually just go to NCAA and gave us. Those guys.
Okay.
But probably more.
Okay.
So guys like a small number of guys. And we got some guys here. We have a lot of guys here locally working out. A lot of guys stayed around, so they're here. For what they need to do to get ready for the season.
That's awesome. That builds continuity right there, Coach. When you got a team that's not, required to come in the summer or what have you, and they're there anyway, that builds continuity. The more time you spend together as a team, you build continuity, and you know what that player's instincts are and what have you. I think that's big. If your team can coach, if team comes in and works out, runs some drills and what have you. I remember the year that LSU won the national championship, Joe Burrow threw 1,000 times to his receivers, whether they were on their way to class or just hanging out at the facility. He threw 1,000 passes to his wide receivers to get them coordinated. If they dropped the ball, then they had to start over again. So 1,000 consecutive passes, and that's what you do to build a winning program. And I know, Coach, you're going to do that. You've been through several successful teams, and I know you're going to be successful at Southern University. I appreciate you taking your time. Now, let me ask you one more question before we go, Coach. They say the average college coach gets about 2 weeks off. The average NFL coach gets about 5 weeks off. Would you say that's accurate? How many weeks do you get off for vacation to spend time with your family?
I would say maybe probably a week, maybe. A
week. College coaches a week.
It's a week for me this year because, of course, my first year as the head coach, so I'm basically going to stay off. And what I'll do, time to time, I'll probably feel time going forward as the years go by. This year, it may be a few days, not many. So it is what it is. I'm excited. I'm ready to start.
Yeah, and I know you are. I mean, you're a football coach, so what you do and what I love about you is that you adapt to your surroundings. So, hey, if I only get a week off or what have you, okay, let's just go. Let's just go. Let's just go play. I want to play, and let's go coach and what have you. But I'm being a lawyer here today. I'm being a Tony Clayton today. That if for college football to be sustainable, it's going to be a youth movement if they keep doing this. Because the older coaches, like a Nick Saban, is going to say, "I'm done. I'm done. I'm not going. I can't do this. I get 1 week off out of 52 weeks. I have to work 51 weeks of the year. It's just not worth it anymore because I have to keep my players here from transferring, and I got to go after transfers, and I got to go to recruits. It's crazy. It's getting absolutely crazy. Coach, thank you so much for spending your busy schedule and time with us. We love you to death, and we can't wait to see you in the fall.
All right, thank you, Chris.
All right,
Okay.
Coach Terrence Graves right there, head coach of Southern. By the way, breaking news just happened. Coach Hurley of the UConn Huskies has decided to stay at UConn. He just turned down a massive contract for the Los Angeles Lakers. Let me look it up right now on my phone. I believe it was a...
6 years.
What's that?
6 years, $70
$70
million.
million contract he turned down. And it's kind of, in a way, it's shocking, but I'll tell you why. And you know this as well as I do, Jonathan. That team cannot be coached. An NBA team is hard to be coached. When you got LeBron James at a huddle doing something else on the other side, he's not even listening to the coach, you can't win that way. And Hurley, you see him on the sideline, Hurley is a yell-in-your-face kind of guy. You can't do that in the NBA. They're not going to respond to you.
Ty Lue just got a bad extension. He couldn't coach the Lakers. He's one of the best coaches.
Right.
Couldn't coach the Lakers.
No. And then again, as long as you've got LeBron James there, that guy's not going to be good enough. That guy's going to be gone. He's not going to stay long. Well, how many coaches have gone through in about a 7-year span? Like 4, 5? How can you build stability that way? You cannot build stability that way. Now, I tell you who they're going to end up with, J.J. Redick, who has no coaching experience at all. He's going to be the coach of the Los Angeles Lakers. That's what's going to happen. Because also they also said there was another coach they said they probably may go after, but it's just and he's a college coach as well. But J.J. Redick, who has no coaching at all under his belt, he's going to probably be your next head coach for the Los Angeles Lakers. He said he's going to wait till after the finals because he's doing it for ESPN, covering for ESPN. After it's over, then he'll go to that, and we'll go from there. All right, we'll come back. We'll finish our NFC South predictions right here as we continue talking sports with me, Chris Powers, right here on Pelican Sports TV.
We're a nation of hardworking Americans, and businesses will always be the lifeline of this great country. As a business owner, you understand the importance of your reputation. In times of uncertainty, you need a real lawyer who's serious about protecting you and your business. You need a problem solver. You need the law firm of Clayton and Fouget. Tony Clayton is a proven trial lawyer. He'll defend you and your business to the fullest extent of the law. Protect your investment and call the law firm of Clayton and Fouget today.
The Louisiana Leadership Institute presents the 2024 Statewide Regional Spelling Bee Finals. Come join us at the Louisiana Leadership Institute, 5763 Hooper Road in Baton Rouge. Final competition is Saturday, June 15th at 10 a.m., with 15 contestants competing for the first place grand prize of $10,000. The 2024 Statewide Regional Spelling Bee Finals, presented by the Louisiana Leadership Institute. We'll see you there.
If you're a wing lover like me, you already know where the best and biggest wings in Baton Rouge are. TJ Ribs on Acadian and I-10. But did you know they also provide some of the best catering in town? Yeah, their catering packages are custom built for parties and tailgates and overflowing with the tastiest barbecue you can find. Whether you go with the MVP package, the Heisman, or the Natty, you can't go wrong with TJ Ribs because it's not just jumbo wings. They serve up truly tender beef brisket, perfectly roasted pulled pork, and smoky fall-off-the-bone baby back ribs. Don't forget the savory sausage and chopped beef. Come on down to TJ Ribs on Acadian and I-10, proud sponsors of the LSU Tigers and the Southern University Jaguars.
All right, welcome back, everybody. I'm Chris Powers. We're talking sports with me, Chris Powers, right here. Starting today, I got to go to Chattanooga, Tennessee. I'll be at Chattanooga tonight. Tomorrow, I'll be at Stafford, Virginia, which is Quantico. And then from there, we're going to Nashville. I'm going to Oklahoma City. Well, Memphis first, then Oklahoma City. Then Flagstaff, Arizona on Flag Day, Marty. I'll be at Flagstaff on Flag Day. And then Los Angeles or Burbank on this Saturday and Sunday, and then drive back on starting on Monday, Tucson, Arizona, and then we're going to go to Tombstone, Arizona, where they did the movie Tombstone and where they had to fight the OK Corral. We're going to tour that. That's the only tour thing we're going to do this whole time I'm there, because my son has spent 6 years in the Marines, He's got 2 bad knees, bad back, rotator cuff surgery coming, and he may need a hearing aid for one of his ears because of the shooting range. And when you put plugs in your ears, he said, you can't hear the commander say, halt fire, hold fire. You can't hear it, so he took the plugs out, and he's going deaf in one ear. I don't know now because he's not going to do that anymore. He spent 6 years in the Marines at Quantico, Virginia. He's a sergeant. He moved up quickly as a sergeant. A month ago, they said, we're going to move you wherever we need to. Last Tuesday, they said, you know what? We're not going to move you now. I gave you 6 years of my life, and so that messes me up that I have to drive my truck instead of flying there and renting a U-Haul because the airline tickets are so expensive. I'd come out ahead if I'm driving my own truck. That's 4,600 miles I'll be driving, Marty. 4,600 miles between now and next Wednesday. Unbelievable. But that's what you do as a father, right? Yep. That's what you do. All right, so I said Tampa Bay. I think Tampa Bay is going to go, I think 8-9. I think they'll be reversed. It's either 8-9 or they might finish 9-8 again. Again, just depends on 1 or 2 games here and there, but I don't think they're going to have as good of a season as they did last year. Atlanta Falcons, as I mentioned, they have the easiest schedule in the second year in a row. But here's the problem. You've got a new quarterback in Kirk Cousins, and you've got a new coach in Raheem Morris. But the problem is that after they spent all that money on Kirk Cousins, then they go out and draft Michael Penix. And that already started division in the locker room. And when you lose the locker room, you are toast. You are done. When a coach or general manager loses the locker room, the only way to get him back is bringing in a new coach. And even Raheem Morris is getting off to a bad start in his first year that he is there. Because then what's going to happen is you're going to have half the team's going to want Michael Penix because it's a high draft pick, and half the team's going to want Kirk Cousins. And even then, there's a reason Kirk Cousins is a journeyman. Because he can win you some games, and he's good, but he don't win playoff games. He is just a little step higher than Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott at Dallas has a tremendous year every year, regular season. Every year he gets to the playoffs, it's the same thing when he gets in the post-game interview. I totally had a bad game. And they lose. Every year it's the same thing. Kirk Cousins has won 1 playoff game. Jonathan, Marty, can you guess who that playoff game was against?
Why would you bring that up, Chris?
The Saints in overtime. And I was on the opposite side where the tight end caught the winning touchdown. In overtime. Oh, it was horrible. Horrible. That's the only playoff win that Kirk Cousins has had. So he's not a guy that's going to bring in major success. So you're going to hear the chance of Michael Penix. So, Jonathan and Mark, I don't know if you guys saw it, but when they drafted Michael Penix, the fans at the Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta were throwing things on the ground. They were ticked off. Well, they were mad. Said, wait, we just paid Kirk Cousins over $100 million to be our new quarterback. Yeah. Now you drafted another quarterback?
Yeah. Well, there was a video that went viral almost immediately of Terry Fontenot like begging for his life to the author blank, trying to explain what in the world they were thinking. There is no logical explanation. Whatever they want to throw at you, it doesn't make sense either way you cut it, just based on resource allocation. This is a business, and now you cannot get the most out of either Kirk Cousins or Michael Penix, because right around that 5-year mark when they said he might be ready to go, that's when you get the bargain out of your quarterback's rookie contract. There's only a couple ways to talk about it all the time, Chris. The Falcons are going to falcon, and they falconed on that one.
Yep, and Fontenot is from the Saints organization. He left the Saints to go to Atlanta.
Yeah, he might have helped us out with that.
So he might be actually doing this on purpose. He might be sabotaging.
Double agent. He might be right.
Yeah, but anyway, he tried to get the capologist at New Orleans. Mickey Loomis gets all the credit on the capologist. Mickey Loomis is not the capologist. The guy underneath him is a capologist. He is a pro, and he tried to get him to go to Atlanta, and Mickey Loomis and him said, no, tampering, you're not going to have it. So I think that Atlanta, first of all, they have the easiest schedule in the NFL for the second year in a row. They will start the season at 0-3, though. They have, like the Saints, they have a very tough start to the season. They're going to lose to Pittsburgh, they're going to lose at Philadelphia, and they're going to lose to KC at home in the Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Their first win will come in Week 4 when they play the New Orleans Saints in Atlanta. They'll beat Tampa Bay in Atlanta. They'll win against Carolina, and they'll beat Seattle all at home. That's 4 straight winning games. So they'll be 4-3 at this point. But then after Dallas, when they lose, they got to go to New Orleans here in the Saints, and they're going to lose that game. They're going to also lose at Denver. They have a bye week after Denver. Then they play the Chargers, which is going to be a loss there too in Atlanta. And then they're going to go on a 4-game losing skid. So they'll go on a 3-game losing skid, then a 4-game winning skid, then a 3-game losing skid after that. Another 4-game losing skid, I should say. I think they will beat Minnesota. That'll be Kirk Cousins' chance to try to get back at his team, and that game's going to be at Minnesota. They'll lose at Las Vegas. They'll beat the Giants, and they'll lose at Washington, and they'll beat Carolina the last game. I think they'll sweep Carolina as well. I think Atlanta finishes 7-10, 8-9 at the best. I really do. I think that just kind of division in the locker room is going to hurt them. Carolina, new coach again. What is that? 3 coaches in 3 years now? Are you kidding me? This organization, Tepper is the owner. He's tampering with the team too much, and he needs to stop. He's a good hedge funds guy. He doesn't know anything about NFL football. He's never been around the game enough. It's an investment to him. Stay out of it. Let his general manager and his coaches do their job. They've got a new coach already, and Dave Canellis. Now, this organization is just out of whack. Bryce Young will have a new coaching staff. He has to work over, and so he's going to have to start over again. They'll start the season 0-6. They're going to lose to the Saints in the first game in the Superdome. They'll lose to the Chargers, the Raiders, the Bengals, the Bears, and the Falcons before winning their first game at Washington, and that's not a gimme game. At that point, Washington, I think, will be a more seasoned team with Jaden Daniels, and we'll have to see from there. They'll lose at Denver, at home against the Saints. They'll lose to the Giants in Germany. They have a bye week after that. They'll be back home to take on Kansas City and lose that game. They'll also lose at home against Tampa, Philly, and Dallas. They'll beat Arizona, and they'll lose at Tampa and Atlanta again. I think this team will either finish 2-15 or 3-14 as a team. Again, I think the Saints, because they have more or less turnover than the other teams, I think the Saints go with a 10-7 record or 9-8, and I think they will win the NFC South for the first time since 2020. They make the playoffs, but they still are not going to be one of the best teams in the NFC. They're going to start slow, but then the Saints get that schedule. They have the 3rd easiest schedule in the National Football League. So then they get that schedule towards the middle and then towards the end where they can put a big win streak together, and that's where you're going to see the Saints win. Their first few games, they're going to suffer. It could come down. The NFC South could come down to the final game of the year, which, by the way, is a flex game. It could be on a Sunday late-night game or a Monday night game, when the Saints will play against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I wish it was in the Dome. It's not. It's in Tampa. I think the Saints may lose that game, even though Saints are not bad at Tampa. They usually win at Tampa or give Tampa a tough game. So that could come down to the NFC South Championship right there. I think 10 wins win the NFC South. 9, you're asking for it. I do not see, again, another wild card team from here. I just see the NFC South champion making the playoffs. All right, that'll do it for this edition of Talking Sports with me, Chris Powers. We hope you enjoy it. We want you to enjoy us again next week. If you're watching on Cox Cable, thank you so much. Go again, like Jonathan says, go to the YouTube channel and subscribe to it and watch all of his videos. He's got a show with him and Buddy Sanji and myself. You can watch all the shows. And right here, of course, you can also go and watch it on Cox Cable. Airs 5 times a week. Until next week, I'm Chris Powers saying so long for everybody here. Marty, Jonathan, thank you for what you do. Alan, yep, good job, my brother. We'll see you next week right here on Pelican Sports.
Rocks and fires. Tommy White with it. Johnson heads to the